Okay, this is my first attempt at this, so please bear with me for now and we'll see how it goes. What I'm going to try and do is to produce some videos to hopefully show how certain tasks can be carried out in areas that seem to cause problems for people. This particular one, I'm sure most people know, it absolutely does my nut in, and that's quoting. If you quote someone else but you don't indicate that you're quoting someone else, then nobody would have a clue that you're not actually saying it yourself. And luckily we have the facility to make that simple. I won't name any names, but they call him Turbo T from Pompey, and hopefully my banter buddy won't be too insulted because he lives just down the road from me. Play up now, Pompey. So let's click Active Topics to see which threads are being posted on at the moment, and we'll try to choose a good example. I've actually already chosen a good example earlier, so that's just waffle. If we click on this thread from Burnsy, you can see, if we scroll down, you'll see right near the very end, from this particular member, he says, I must say though that if I posted a hand and the only person that agreed with my play was TFLS, then I would definitely be reanalyzing it again tomorrow. Now nobody would have a clue that he's actually responding to somebody that said that. It actually reads like he said it himself. But who would know? So if we scroll back up, we will see that somebody else said it. I must say blah blah blah, and it's this nerd here. Now if you look over to the right, and it will be the last one on yours, you see these icons above the post. The last one with an arrow pointing into it, ignore these two, they're just for admin. It's got an arrow pointing into it. If you hover over it, it says reply with quote. Now that's obviously the one we want to use, so we click and we get this screen. Now instead of a blank white post screen, you'll notice that there is some text already in there. At the beginning it says quote inside square brackets, and at the end it says the same thing but with a forward slash. Now if you go to the end and press return a couple of times, you can type in whatever you like, sort of thing. Actually it's probably best just to type reply, like so. And down the bottom here, not many people will use this, but you can click preview. Now this is how it will look when you post the reply, and you can see that within this dotted area it says originally posted by this fella, and there's the quote itself, and all you've done underneath is hit reply. Voila! So you can see exactly who posted the first quote. But we can actually take things one step further. If we go back to the original post at the top, you can see it's quite a long post because it's a hand history. Now quite often what somebody that knows how to use the quote response will do, they'll do just that and respond with something very short like well played. So not only do we have an enormously long first post, but then somebody repeats that enormously long first post and adds just a couple of words at the end, which makes pretty painful reading. So let's use this as an example, and let's say that somebody wants to use the quote function to simply ask, in this Ladbrokes hand history, why do the blinds show as 600, 1200 at the top when they are actually 300, 600? Now we know that this is actually an error with Ladbrokes hand histories, but let's say somebody wanted to ask the question nonetheless. So we once again click on the reply with quote, which is the page of writing with an arrow pointing into it. And once again we'll see that at the beginning of the quote you have quote, at the end of it you have the same thing with the forward slash. So if we do the same thing, press enter a couple of times, and then we choose to respond with whatever we want, or perhaps something more appropriate like blinds are wrong. Now if we hit the preview button, we'll see this is what's going to come out on the forum. Not only was the post long in the first place, but the reply is as well. And at the end, just a few words, blinds are wrong, and it's not great reading. So because the only bit you're interested in is the bit at the top that says 600 and 1200, what we can do is delete everything that's after it, that's before the second quote mark. I don't know how you would normally delete, but in my case I'll just be highlighting all of the text, go to the point just before the quote mark and hit delete. Now when we press the preview button, we can see that only the area that my reply is concerned with is quoted, and this obviously makes much better reading. You would then, of course, you can see there, you see it's just a few lines and blinds are wrong instead of a massive great thing to read through again. Then of course you would close the window and you would hit post reply, which I won't be doing now, and that hopefully explains to people how to use our quote function. So best of luck, Rich Lizard signing off.